I'm not joking. President Donald Trump on the record saying he's not ruling out another run for the White House, telling NBC News, quote, there are methods by which he could do it.
Oh, I'm not joking either, because in this video, we will go over the most recent CNN meltdowns where they really think Donald Trump is being serious about running for a third term. In fact, in this video, you will actually see CNN disprove themselves. We'll get to that later. Now, before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. You're not even gonna believe what you're about to watch.
Now, the president is limited to 2 terms by the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution, but that has not stopped President Trump from flirting with this idea before.
It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times now. Headlines from the fake news. Should I run again? You tell me. There's your controversy right there. There's your controversy.
I told you I was not joking. CNN spent the entire day talking about whether or not Donald Trump was going to run for president a third term, and they were trying to figure out if he was joking or not, when in their own clips, Donald Trump is literally joking. He even says, I'm joking. He's clearly trolling, but CNN fell for the bait.
Look, you guys continue to ask the president this question about a third term, and then he answers honestly and candidly with a smile, and then everybody here melts down about his answer. The president talked about this last night on the plane. He said, it's not really something we're thinking about. He has 4 years. There's a lot of work to do. We've done a lot in these nearly first 100 days, and the American people love what this president is doing, particularly when it comes to efforts to secure the...
Again, you're not even going to believe how bad CNN has fallen for this troll. They're even bringing on experts. I will show you that in a second because it's hilarious. But to give you guys some context, the reason why Donald Trump keeps saying he may run for a third term is because his approval rating keeps going up. Almost in every single category. And even though the left-leaning media keeps saying, you know, people dislike Donald Trump, things are getting worse, the polls and statistics say otherwise. So of course, if you're the president, regardless if you're Donald Trump, when the media is against you, you might want to troll them by saying, you know what, I might run for a third term. That's just my guess. Let me know how you guys feel.
12th Amendment seems to preclude that. So really what you're talking about is either complete, and utter chaos outside of our system, some sort of dictatorship where we don't actually have elections, which of course we hope doesn't happen, or something where the former president would become the Speaker of the House and then the president and the vice president would resign, in which case, of course, you would see court challenges because that goes against the spirit, if not actually the specific words in this 22nd Amendment. So I think it's very much a long shot.
I'm sorry, could you imagine Donald Trump as the Speaker of the House? I told you, this gets so comical, it's ridiculous that CNN actually wasted the time of news anchors to come on CNN and explain to the public why Donald Trump might be taking this serious. And by the way, I will show you guys the original clip where Donald Trump is clearly joking and not taking this serious, as far as now why all of a sudden people are freaking out. But let's get to some more experts.
Betsy, he said he's not joking when asked about this. Then
3 times or 4 times now.
Also said that it's too early to be talking about it. What more is he saying?
Yeah, Jessica, you're absolutely right that this is not the first time this has come up, albeit a little tongue-in-cheek as you just laid out. But President Trump openly talking about the prospect of seeking a third term in office, and he says this is not a joke. I want to read to you part of the transcript from the telephone interview he had with NBC News' Kristen Welker. Welker says, "Sir, I'm hearing you don't sound like you're joking. I've heard you joke about this a number of times," to which the president responds, "No, I'm not joking. "I'm not joking." The president goes on to say that there are methods on which he could seek a third term. Welker asked if it's possible that Vice President J.D. Vance gets elected and then passes the baton. The president indicated that that was an option, but he said there are others too.
I mean, what are we doing on CNN right now? And I just want to point this out. Simple observation. It seems to me that CNN and other left-leaning media outlets, it seems to me that you guys are the ones trying to map out how Donald Trump could be the next president for a third term, not Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to play you guys the original clip where all of a sudden this has sparked controversy, even though CNN has admitted Donald Trump tends to joke about this.
You said you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is, in a way, it's fourth term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's sort of a fourth term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the second, because Biden was so bad. He did such a bad job. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm popular, if you want to know the truth.
Now, real quick, before I continue the video and show you once again, Donald Trump is clearly not even wanting to talk about this, but he keeps getting asked this question. If you look in the background, Donald Trump's staff members or team members, they are even laughing in the background because you know Donald Trump's team is absolutely trolling the media right now. And from the original CNN clips I showed you, Donald Trump kept saying, well, that's going to be a headline. I keep pointing this out, and some Democrats actually know this. Donald Trump's team is way more smart than you think they are. I'm not trying to say this is like a psyop or they're trying to deflect on what's going on, but Donald Trump knows how to create headlines and he knows how to generate traffic. And if anything, he just got CNN to waste their entire day or a lot of news segments and real estate to talk about this when, again, he's joking.
Is it your understanding that they have to
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you think that's an appropriate precedent to set, even if it wasn't you in this position, to see a president serve a third term?
I don't want to talk about a third term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time.
So again, in this clip, he got asked 3 times and he says, I don't want to talk about it. And then he says again, well, I don't want to talk about it. But now it looks like Donald Trump wants to talk about it because he knows the media is going to run with it. And of course, I found MSNBC is also talking about this as well.
Let's get to the other big headline now from that Kristen Welker interview with Donald Trump. When asked about a potential third term, he said, I'm not joking, but he says he's more focused on his current term. Joining me now, Don Calloway, Democratic strategist and founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, Susan Del Percio, Republican strategist, and former Republican Congressman David Jolly, both of whom are MSNBC political analysts. Quick reaction, guys, to that Trump comment entertaining a third term. You first, David.
Believe him. I think the biggest mistake of the last 8 years is we somehow fail to give credibility to Donald Trump's whims and his impulses, but we know it's true. And January 6th was a perfect example. If he says that he's not ruling it out, he's not ruling it out, and we should consider it a constitutional threat.
Okay. Susan?
He's been pushing the envelope on testing the Constitution, so I expect, that he'll continue to do that, maybe by seeking out a third term. But more importantly, short term, we're not talking about Signal and that scandal if we are talking about Trump's third term.
Don?
Yeah, I think both of them are exactly right. Steve Bannon was on Joe Rogan's podcast the other day laying out the very groundling seeds of how it's going to go down. And he said, listen, we are working on it. And by we, I mean the same people who work at the Heritage Foundation and these other well-funded, well-organized think tanks who are laying together the groundwork for things that actually come to pass. And the mainstream media and all of us on the left kind of blow it off as silly or improbable or unconstitutional. That doesn't matter to these folks. And I think you should take a third term or an effort at a third term as a legitimate campaign promise at this point.
Now, one thing I do want to point out is this. On CNN and MSNBC, obviously they are trying to push this narrative of, we need to take this serious, we need to watch out. But if you follow the independent media, whether you follow YouTube pages like mine or you're on X, nobody is taking this serious. When I mean nobody, literally nobody. You do have like one or two people who are a little more mainstream than you think on the Democrat side, but nobody is reporting on this. This is why I had to make a video on it, because I could not believe CNN and MSNBC were taking the bait. When you actually go through the original clips of Donald Trump, he's clearly joking once again. And again, I don't know why they're wasting their time. It might be a slow news cycle, but I just want to assure you, in the independent space, nobody's talking about this.
Also in that phone call with Welker, President Donald Trump said he believes he can be the first president since Roosevelt to serve more than 2 terms in office. Trump insisted he was serious about a potential 3rd term, a move that is explicitly prohibited by the Constitution. We're quoting from that interview. Welker said, "You don't sound like you're joking. I've heard you joke about this a number of times." To that, President Trump responded, No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking, but it's far too early to think about it." Welker pressed, "Have you been presented with any potential plans that would allow you to serve a 3rd term?" The president responded, "Well, there are plans. There are not plans. There are methods which you could do it, as you know." Welker continued, "Let me throw one out there where President Vance would run for office and then would basically, if he won at the top of the ticket, would then pass the baton to you." President Trump answered, "Well, that's one, but there are others too. There are others." Welker asked, "There are others? Can you tell me another?" Trump declined to do that.
So there you go. Donald Trump might be the new Speaker of the House or the next Vice President. I have no idea. You know what? That would be rather interesting. Maybe he does the reverse. Joe Biden was the Vice President and then he went up to the President. That would be rather interesting. That might actually work. But again, Donald Trump is getting older. This is no disrespect. This is reality. I don't think Donald Trump wants to live the rest of his life being in politics. It just so happens that this all worked out. And beyond all of this, we are actually just wasting our time. I mean, this is literally such a joke. Nobody's taking this serious. I had to point out to you guys this happened today, and I can't believe it did. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't waste your time. I hope you guys got a good laugh out of it. God bless, and we'll see you guys later.